Cool.
Oh, shit. Aldo, there's no escaping now, bro.
Hey, you know what? I am not running away.
No?
Am I?
Well,
Not
if you
at
were
all.
smart, you would.
No, not
You
at all.
obviously haven't spoken to my wife yet.
You know what, dude? Actually, I think I tend to be, oddly enough, a very good judge of character,
Yeah?
either consciously or by sheer luck. But the bottom line is I always gravitate towards good people. You know, like the last time I had to cut someone off out of my life was literally, hold on, I'm really good with dates, May 2017.
You probably remember the time.
I remember
of
the
phone
dude.
call.
I remember the circumstances, and we're not gonna get into it. But the whole point is, listen, you guys are good people. I felt that way since the first time we came here. You didn't even have those curtains, man. He was like wide open. I was like, and then Danielle told me you guys would like crash here after hours, like many nights, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but how do you deal with that? That all that sunlight.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, we didn't start crashing here until we got the curtains. Once we got the curtains, actually, I think maybe one night we taped something up, but we got the curtains for our first comedy show. And then once the curtains were up, I'm like, oh, it's off to the races. I got us an inflatable mattress. I actually ran to Walmart to get something. This is came back. This is actually before the build. While during the build out, we still had paper on the windows. That's what it was. And I came back. I said, "Do you want to crash here tonight?" And she's like, "Yeah," but I'm like, I got us an air mattress, blankets, pillows, and then we didn't for a while. Then got the curtains, and then it was about 3.5, 4 months that we slept here every night, dude, because it was just her and I, and we would stay here till 5 in the morning.
Yeah, it would make sense, you know. Like, I mean, you got to open the place next day anyway.
Yeah,
you know?
we have the
Might as
dogs
well.
with us.
Yeah,
and
that's all you need.
we built this place like an extension of our living room, so it felt like home for us.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, the TV that was over the bar, which is over here now, it was the TV from the wall in our living room. Like we're like, oh,
that
yep.
one.
Yeah,
right
that
there?
one there.
Oh,
We took it off the wall in the living room and brought it in here. Like we're all in. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, that's amazing, man. So, well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude.
We've been kind of dancing around the idea of doing this for a couple of months.
Yeah,
something
man.
like that,
I'm
you
very
know?
glad to have you. I know you're hard
my
to nail
pleasure.
down, dude. You've worked your ass off for God knows how long. We'll learn that. And I know your schedule is usually packed. So for you to be able to come on your day off, it really means the world to me, bro.
Well, it's my pleasure, man.
absolutely,
what can I say,
brother.
dude? My brother,
So Aldo,
absolutely.
let me ask you this.
Oh, go ahead, fire away.
Aldo or Aldo?
It literally
Is it
makes
tomato,
no
tomato?
difference. Tomato. As long as you don't call me Waldo or Aldor, which one that I get that a lot, Aldor, and I'm like, I'm not a troll from Lord of the Rings, man. It's not Aldor, the Conqueror. No, Aldo doesn't matter. Tomato.
Okay.
like, perfect.
Aldo.
Yeah.
I usually like to start this with a very simple, who are you and what do you do?
Okay, who am I? As of at the very moment of this podcast, I'm a 43-year-old Chilean born and raised musician who's been in the U.S. for 24 years. And there I gave away what I do. I'm a musician. I'm not going to get into like the constellation. I'm an Aries, you know.
No, I like it.
But you know
Dive
what?
in, brother.
I'm an Aries, and I'm kind of poster child. I'm an only child, although I have 3 half brothers on my dad's side. But I didn't really get to meet them till much later on in life. So I'm the only thing that came out of my mom.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I understand
even
that.
though, believe it or not, some people say I was spoiled, I got my ass handed to me whenever I screwed up, man. So that is only to a degree, but I also grew up being the center of all the attention. I've had friends for as long as I can remember, and I always joke, you know, I used all my powers for good, not evil. You know, I've always been the popular kid. And even in high school, I would approach the kid that nobody would talk to, the weird one, and I would sit down with them, you know, and like just, there was this kid named Tetsuo Tanida. He was Japanese in Chile. And everyone will make fun of him. And then one day I sat next to him, and turns out he was into guitar players as much as I was. So every once in a while, we would just shoot the shit. You know, I don't know what happened to him later on in life, but
Wouldn't it be cool to find out? And
Yeah.
you wonder if he remembers you. I'm sure he does. You know, when people feel outcasted like that and somebody reaches out the hand, those situations are like defining moments for some people.
I believe you may be right, but I wasn't doing it for that purpose.
Right.
You know, I just saw a kid, you know, that I'm like, listen, everyone's picking on him. And I think at some point, like, dude, what are you doing talking to him? I'm like, dude, mind your own business. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, it's one of the perks of being with the in crowd. And this sounds so moronic, but when you're a teenager, those kind of things kind of matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like I said, I always made a point in reaching out, and I was friends with the jocks, the metalheads, and also I would hang out with the kids from the history club. Like one weekend, we would go out and get drunk and hook up with girls. The next one, I will go downtown and watch X-Files reruns with the kids from the history clubs, and they would discuss the episodes over coffee. So I was literally all over the place.
That's
man.
fantastic. Well, you know, life is so multifaceted, and some people kind of like realize that and want to enjoy all of the different aspects in life. But other people, it's often like a reaction to insecurity. They stay stuck in their comfort zone and their little friend circle, and they don't want to like branch out from that. But I'm very similar in that way, dude. Like, I was always the guy who would talk to the kid that nobody was talking to. And I think it's like an empathetic thing where you feel like, well, I wouldn't want to be the guy that nobody's talking to till you reach out. But I was also the like nucleus of many different friend groups, you know, whether not many jocks, but whether it was like the kids who skip school to smoke weed, or whether it was the musicians or the artsy kids. So I totally relate to that, man.
Like, you know, like the kicker is, till this day, I am in touch with a lot of these kids, you know, that I went to high school with. You know, one of the kids from the history club, he went on to become the Chilean consul in Ecuador. But I always knew that dude was destined for greatness because he was brilliant.
Right.
We were both in humanities and junior and senior year. We were really good buddies, and till this day, we say what's up in social media. And another kid, you know, went on to become a lawyer. You know,
Bula, brother.
Bula. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how some people peak in high school, and then other people like end up taking over the world? And it's usually weird because like the popular kids in high school usually peak in high school, right? Like that's it. Like the high school quarterback that was like getting all the girls, you know, no offense to any high school quarterbacks who are listening, but rarely do they make it to NFL quarterback, and they end up staying stuck in their same old town, or they get their high school girlfriend pregnant, and then the kid who was sitting at the front of the class in math class is putting us on Mars.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, where I come from, that is not as common because in Chile, if you don't go from high school to college and get a real career, you're toast. So the option of just kind of fumble around and go to work at a Home Depot, or maybe do a year work in Applebee's, you know, that doesn't exist down there. No, you have to go straight from high school to college. Like 98% of all my classmates, they all went on to become lawyers, engineers, architects, all of them.
What do you think the big difference is there between the United States and Chile?
Yeah, Chile.
That is creating that kind of difference?
Well, to be completely honest, is the fact that if you don't have a real degree and a real career from a real university, like an accredited one, you are not going to be able to make a living.
Yeah.
You see, one of the first things that I moved to the States when I was 18 years old.
Okay.
1 month shy of my 19th birthday. And I remember me seeing all these kids working restaurants, McDonald's, or, you know, like if the guy works a job and the girl works a job, they have enough to like rent a little house or a trailer, and they get to play house. And next thing you know, they're 21 with kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, how does that even work? I mean, where I come from, you don't get married till you're like, by the time you have a college degree, and then you kind of like dick around, like you work and you still live at home for like another 3 years. So by the time you finally meet a girl you like and you're married, you have enough to put a down payment on a house. It's a completely different dynamic.
That's pretty wild to think about. I wonder if it's like the economic structure of the country.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I still stand by the fact that this is the only country in the world that if you work hard, but if you get lucky enough, you can literally make it doing just about anything.
Right.
You know? Whereas where I come from is high school, college, post grad, and your whole life is pretty much mapped out like that,
Yeah.
Here you come up with a good concept, for a business, and boom,
Yeah.
takes off, and dude,
Yeah.
you create a freaking monkey NFT,
Dude, that's kind of blowing my mind
Yeah.
recently. Do you understand all of that NFT stuff?
No, I got into crypto though last year.
Okay.
And like the good recovering addict that I am, we'll get to that later. I just went like balls deep, and I'm holding quite a few nice positions. But
Excellent.
I'm like, dude, if you get in the right one
Yeah.
at the right time,
Yeah.
boom, you can literally, if not necessarily retirement money, but you can make enough to where you can kick back for a whole year.
Yeah, it could change your life.
Yes,
but
it
it's about
can.
timing, and it's funny that when Bitcoin came out, everybody thought like, this is nonsense or whatever. But if you got in early,
Oh, dude, if you got in 2010,
Yeah.
it was
You're easily a millionaire.
008. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love looking up stats and dates. And Bitcoin in June 2018 went from 008 to 08. The next year, it was already $1.
yeah,
And then you know how it goes from there.
yeah, it's skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Now it's doing this like fluctuating at 40 thing, and I can't decide like, do I buy more? Do I wait for it to drop to sell? But I'm not playing with any big money at all. I put a $50 in every couple weeks.
Oh, dude, I'm only a musician, man. Do you
Right.
think I'm dropping like 5 figures? No, but the way people ask me like, well, I don't have the balls to do it, and I'm like, listen, don't put in anything that you cannot withstand to lose.
Exactly.
That's the main thing. And I don't know about you, but I am horrible handling my finances. I pay my bills and all that shit, but money burns a hole through me. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just literally, I cannot. Wendy, like my fiance, she's amazing. You give her $100 and she eats for a month.
Yeah.
Me, vanishes.
Yeah.
But whatever extra I have, I just put it there, and you just let it build over time. And you know what? I'm not counting on it, but who knows?
That's right.
That's exactly how I see it.
It's like if you don't play, you can't win. So it's better to be in the game.
Yeah.
And the crypto for me, once I was outside of the realm and I didn't understand any of it. But once I got a crypto wallet and put a few dollars into a few coins, then all of a sudden I'm in the conversation. And I kind of am starting to learn about it a bit more, right? But I'm the same way. If I can't stand to lose the $50 or the $100, I'm not going to put it in.
Yeah.
But then I think about all the times, like you said, that I've just blown money, whether it be a night at the bar, a night out, $50, $100 goes like nothing. Why not put that into something and just pretend like I spent
Exactly.
it at the bar? But I'm like you, man. I'm terrible with money.
Yeah. No, and but the other cool thing about crypto is that, well, at least the people that are invested in, they were already friends of mine. But it's really cool how we all give each other tips. Hey, buy this, sell that. My drummer texts me once every 2 weeks at least. Like at 7:30 in the morning. Hey, dude, buy this coin, and I'm like, all right, man. Or if I find an article, I send it to him. It's like everyone. I have yet. Let me rewind. I was warned about 24 years ago how cutthroat the whole music business was. And trust me, what I'm saying is related to that. And I'm like, dude, I've made a bunch of suave freaking dudes, like people that are like my brothers and sisters. I've yet to encounter that mischievous, malicious element they spoke of years ago. I've yet to find it.
Do you think it's at the higher levels, like the music industry was built on the backs of artists, right? And the whole business model is based on the artist getting zero, right? So maybe that's what the people are referring to.
Maybe. But when I was warned about this was the first lead singer that I ever worked with, this guy named Trevin Bowman. And he said, you watch out because all these guys are some cutthroat mother. And I'm yet
Can't find them.
Can find him.
Yeah.
I know they're there. I
Right.
hear the stories. I hear horror stories, other bands and other people's experiences. And I'm like, that's what I told in the beginning of this conversation. I mean, I'm very fortunate that good people gravitate towards me.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
it's what you get, what you give in this world. And since I've known you, you kind of, exude this enthusiasm and positivity and like this kind of like go with the flow vibe that the universe just puts that in front of you. And you also seem like the type of guy that when nonsense is put in front of you, you kind of just like keep it moving, you know?
Yeah. Or how I like to say, snippety snip, man.
Yeah.
You know, cut them off. You
Yeah.
know, that's it. But like I said in the beginning of the podcast, the last time I had to do that with somebody was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's all good people. You know, you met my fiance. You know, she's amazing. And
Yeah,
now
Wendy's fantastic.
now my brother-in-law is staying with us for a little bit, and it's pretty chill. Got the dogs, and you know, the reality is it's not my house; it's the dogs. Let's face it. You know. But yeah, so you asked me, who am I? What do I do? That is your answer. What I do is I've been a professional musician in South Florida full time since 2003. That's the last time I wore a name tag.
Holy shit.
I used to
dude.
work at Red Lobster. Yep, I did that. And
You're
Father's
coming up on 20 years as a paid musician,
Yep, actually
right? 2003,
Yep.
2013, 2023.
Father's Day 2003, I was supposed to go in, and I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to do this anymore. And I looked at my friend, the girl I was dating at the time. She said, well, I mean, do you have enough gigs to pay your bills? And I'm like, I'll figure it out. And I called the restaurant. I said, guys, I'm not coming in. And they're like, well, it's Father's Day. You're going to get fired. And I'm like, you know what? So be it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. Boom. And I never looked back. And it was hard, man. I mean, I went through periods of time where I had to dig in my couch for change so I could eat. You know, it was rough. We're talking about getting by with like maybe 7 or 8 gigs a month, if that many at all,
Right.
and just kind of figuring it out as I go. But I've never been homeless. I've never been without a job. I've always managed to have exactly what I need at that particular time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing how the universe will bless you if you have this somewhat blind courage. It sounds like that's what happened in 2003. It was like this blind faith that, like, she asked you, do you have enough gigs? And you said no, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I remember I actually had 2 gigs a week. It was either 2 or 3, something. I was just getting started in the local scene. And I was like, yeah, but fuck it, you know? I just decided to go for it. And
Now, did she stick with you through the grind?
Well,
Or was she
oddly
just a short-term girlfriend in the
actually,
first place?
we dated for a few years. We broke up literally, hold on, let me see. This was 14 years ago. And we're still very good friends to this day.
Yeah.
I'm one of those weird guys. I'm literally friends with every girl I've ever dated.
Wendy must love that.
No, she's actually gets along with them just fine.
That's excellent.
Actually, my ex-fiance is one of our best friends.
Really?
And her and Wendy hang out by themselves, and they have a blast, you know. They're complete.
That's very cool, man.
In the most adorable way. They're retards together, you know, and I love them for it, you know, and yeah. And
It's great when people from your present and past can intermingle. You know, I've always been the type of like, I don't like to move backwards, and often relationships end because there was like an incompatibility. And, you know, you can like part ways amicably, but for the most part, I'm like, see you when I see you. You know, I'm about to pursue my future now, you know?
Like I said, there are a few girls that I've dated years ago that were not, you know, I said friends.
Right.
That would be a stretch. But if I see him in the street, I'll be like, how are you? Good to see you. I'll give him a hug. And I'm in, the correct way to put it would be I'm in good terms with every single one of them. But a few of them were very good friends. We're actually friends till this day. And I think it's amazing, you know?
Right. Because part of it is that the universe, you know, brings people together, sometimes for reasons over seasons, and it's like just because we weren't compatible in a romantic sense doesn't mean that we shouldn't be in each other's lives.
My ex-fiance,
yeah.
I'm like, we were always meant to be friends. We are great friends, but we just did not click on that level.
Yeah.
You know?
Circling back to NFTs.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't wrap my head around how people are selling images of a monkey for $20,000, $30,000.
Yeah, you got me there because I am just as clueless as you are. Circling back even further to when I said in this country, if you come up with one idea, however absurd it may seem,
Yeah.
if it is illogically brilliant, you can hit a jackpot. Yeah. I don't get it either. I read, the Google financial news almost every day.
Yeah.
And they're like these kids, who sell a hippopotamus reading a book, so made six figures in like 6 hours. And I'm like,
Head scratch.
and I've been working my ass off for like 20 years, for what?
Right.
I could have been selling a hippo, reading a book.
Well, there's this shift that we're witnessing right now. This shift from the physical to the metaphysical, or to the metaverse.
Metaverse, yeah, I've heard that. I probably know as much about it as you do.
Right, very, very little. But the NFT is like a digital ownership in this metaverse space. And I wonder, as a musician, how much you think about this future that we're headed towards. Like, for instance, the other day I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see an advertisement for a gentleman he's a rapper, but you can click a video and you can watch a concert of his in the metaverse.
Yes, actually, I will say, well, there's many responses to that. First of all, there is such a thing as music NFTs.
Ah,
Yes, I even downloaded a tutorial. I haven't really sat down with it.
yeah.
Because to be honest, I am what you call technologically challenged. I suck at anything that involves a computer, and I'm teaching myself. But first point is, yes, there is such thing as music NFTs. You can make an NFT out of a song and then sell it.
Right.
So I was like, I have a whole album that is copywritten, We'll get to that later. The other one is the metaverse. Yes, you're correct. Actually, a buddy of mine who works for a company that just purchased a giant venue in the metaverse where Metallica is going to do a concert, and you just see the whole thing, apparently in VR.
Yeah,
I'm
in
guessing.
the Oculus headset. Have you tried one of those?
Yes, I've actually have, but I'm sure that this is a completely different level that I have not experienced.
Oh, I'm sure.
But-
Metallica in the metaverse is going to be fucking mind-blowing, I'm sure.
Yeah, but you know what? Then again, going back to, have I thought about getting into it? Of course I have. And I'm like, Wendy's always on my case. Dude, let's figure out how to do this music NFTs. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. I just don't even know where to begin.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how absurd it is, because in the end, what do we all want to do? We want to be happy. And once you get to a point, you get to like our age, you want to be happy, and also you want to not have to worry about things like money
Right.
and stuff. You just want to like enjoy and provide for your family. And if I'm going to make a fortune out of a giraffe reading a book, then so flippin' be it, man.
Right. Right. And sometimes you have to be willing to kind of keep up with the times so that you can, continue to be prosperous. But to me, honestly, as I was an aspiring rapper for 15 years. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. But I kind of put it on the back burner so I could grow up a bit and focus on building a family and business with my wife. But I understand the connection between the musician and the listener and the audience, right? And there's so much that happens in a live setting, which I understand has been 90+% of your career is live.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And it's scary to think that we could come to a day and age where that's obsolete. I don't even really want to imagine a world without live music.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say that's probably never going to happen. Not because I don't believe in the overwhelming power of digital concerts and the metaverse. Think about vinyls.
Right.
Till this day, you still have people who collect vinyls.
Yep. There's
You
a
have that
record
old
shop down the street, man.
There's that sentimental value about the old-fashioned things. In this case, I would be willing to bet my life that there are many, many people out there who will never trade the experience of being there in person watching a live performance.
Well, I agree with you completely, but the scary thing is what we've witnessed over the past couple years is, if you remember in early 2020, the first big things to go were live sporting events, live music events, and that was like a forced shutdown.
Yeah.
And there was thoughts for people who, I mean, musicians were probably the ones who struggled the most
Oh, dude.
during that time.
You know what? The lockdown has started on Monday, March 16th.
Yeah.
I woke up that morning, opened my phone to my emails. I had like a dozen emails from agents, venues, all live entertainment is canceled. And I remember getting up, making a cup of coffee, and being like, I don't have a job.
Right.
Took a sip, and I'm like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I set up my PA in my living room, and I invited a fellow musician over, and we streamed the whole thing live. I put my links to like Venmo and PayPal and all that shit, and I did that a couple of times a week. I taught online almost every day on Skype, and I figure it out. But you know, the funny thing is I never panic, and I should have.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, nobody cut me a break on rent or any of my bills.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, and there I am, jobless, technically. Right. And somehow I always had faith that he was going to work out. That's the only explanation I can give you. But yeah, I get it.
Well, you were creative to pivot that quickly. It took a long people to figure out, like, or they fought it initially, like, I can't do music on, it's not the same. And you're like, nah, you just dove right in. Yeah. And that was brilliant.
Well, I mean, it would be unfair for me to take credit for the idea of the live streams. Oddly enough, they were happening already, but in a live setting. There were some local performers that would stream live as they were playing.
Right.
Where I think, because I didn't hear anyone else do it before I did, was advertise those streams as a gig. Like Thursday, from my living room, I would make a flyer and put it on social media. Tune in. I'll be playing at 7 p.m., blah, blah, blah.
That's so cool.
And that's what I think I started. You know, I may be wrong, but I didn't see anyone else, do it before me. And, yeah, I just, like I said, at least from my standpoint of view, I didn't invent the live stream. Of course, that's not me. But the advertising of it as a gig, I'm the first person I know who did it.
Yeah. Did you see that some stand-up comedians a couple months into the lockdowns were doing drive-in comedy shows where people would come in their cars, tune in on the radio in their car, and use their horns to applaud? You know?
I did not know that, but sounds like we got creative, man.
Yes.
We got creative, and all in all, I loved the lockdown.
Yeah.
But that's just me. Then again, mind you, and this is like a fair warning to all of our listeners and viewers, whatever the topic, I always express what works for me. I'm not telling you or anyone else what to do.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, half the time, I really don't care what others do, because you're going to be your own person.
Yeah.
But in this particular instance, I enjoyed the quarantine. I needed a break from work. I did 315 gigs in 2019.
What?
Yes. I counted them in my calendar.
My God.
And I was burned, dude. I was literally doing up to 30 shows a month. Yeah, I was working like a maniac, but I was like, I was literally spent.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And then this thing happened, and I realized I remember one particular memory. It's like mid-April. We're still in the middle of the lockdown, and Wendy and I are having breakfast in our little patio. It's probably around 11 o'clock in the morning. And we finish, and she goes, do you want to watch a movie or take a nap? And I'm like, this is fucking beautiful. Like, I never want to go back to work again. Yeah. But, so, like I said, it's just everyone was different. And I know people who had a really hard time, during the shutdown.
Yeah.
People who lived alone, people who struggle with addiction, depression, you name it.
Yeah. And well, luckily we were in South Florida, right? Because our lockdowns were minimal, and we were still able to go outside and enjoy our beautiful weather. And there was something beautiful about those first couple weeks where it was like the day the earth stood still. There was all these images coming out of the canals in Venice. The water was finally clear from not all being churned up, and dolphins were swimming through Venice, and all of these animals were coming out and exploring. And it was like, it made you realize the huge impact that our day-to-day lives have on this planet that we live on, you know?
It's almost like we needed that reset, you know?
Careful with the way you use the word reset. You know who Klaus Schwab is?
No, but you were about to tell me.
Klaus Schwab, I don't know enough, but Klaus Schwab is the leader of the World Economic Forum. He wrote a book called The Great Reset. And basically is what he's calling what just happened now. And it's this reset to a global economy with social credit scores and digital currency. And some people are quite terrified of what that could look like a Black Mirror episode. So obviously you're correct. We did need that reset. But there's also a weird thing of like, you know,
like a very dark connotation, like where it may lead.
Yes.
You know what? But it's all about personal experiences. And me, then again, like for example, during COVID, I saw all the musicians that I know and agents come together. We're all calling each other. Hey, dude, I got this number so you can get benefits or unemployment. We're all helping each other out. There were people going way out of their ways to help others. I mean, and that's what I was exposed to.
Yeah.
So like goodness, you know, and I'm like, wow, this is freaking awesome. I mean, it sucks we're all without a job, but everyone is helping each other. You know, every day I was on the phone or a messenger with somebody. You got to call this place, call this number, submit this form, blah, blah. And we're all, then again, so, and I know a lot of people had a really, really shitty time. I know I'm not discrediting that. Again, for you guys watching, I'm just describing what I went through.
Right.
And it was great to see all the people coming together.
Yeah. Do you think it's interesting, like what you just did there? You had to do a disclaimer to make sure that you didn't offend anybody.
Oh, well, you're talking to somebody. I grew up in the 80s in South America, man. I mean, we say fucked up shit, you know, and we make fun of all colors and shapes and sizes.
Right.
But
nobody's safe, but it's like a communal thing.
Yeah, but we do it making fun. For us, it's a joke, yeah. And before going on this podcast, I remember telling myself, Aldo, you have a big fucking mouth, dude. I mean, like...
Good. Speak.
Seriously, you know, like, I mean, make sure that you clarify that, hey, this is not... I'm not telling you what to do. This is just me. Yeah. Because I have my own political views, assuming I care enough about politics, because quite frankly, between you and I, they're all corrupt. They don't care about you and me or anyone sitting down there right now. You know, I have my views about COVID and all the other issues, but normally I keep those to myself, you know?
Is it because you wouldn't want to turn off a potential somebody who's going to book you for a gig, right?
Not at all, my man.
You just don't want to get involved in the drama.
Yeah, just don't want to. I made the mistake of opening my mouth, for example, during the pandemic a couple of times, and it created a whole... And one of my best friends, he was like, well, dude, I mean, you're kind of like a well-known dude here in South Florida. You say something like that, you're going to get a reaction.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I even put on the post, I'm not telling people what to do. This is just my personal opinion. Then people take it completely out of context.
Yeah.
So, listen, at the end, I say do what makes you happy.
Yeah. Well, the sad thing is what makes some people happy is telling other people what to do.
Yeah, not I said the fly.
Right, clearly. But, you know, we saw that this past it's like people were saying, put your mask on.
Oh, yeah, no.
You know, or the other side of it, take your mask off.
Yeah.
Right? It was like this tribal us against them. And I hate to say it, but we were like fed that. You know, it's like the news was telling us, like, you better tell us if your neighbors are not wearing their mask and having people at their house. You know, in California, they were shutting off people's power and water if they were having people over.
Oh, that is just retarded, dude.
Yeah.
And you know what I said, this is probably as far into it as I'm going to get. I mean, as of now, I may very well break that
The night's
vow.
still young.
Yeah. I would tell people, listen, if you come out, I perform live. I've been playing live shows since summer 2020.
Yeah.
And some people were concerned, you know, like, hey, there's a gathering with quite a few people. Aren't you worried? And I'm like, listen, if you show up with a mask, I'm not going to ridicule you.
Right.
It's your prerogative. I'll respect that. But you're also coming out of your own free will.
Yes.
If you get so much as a sniffle, man, don't blame me for it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Then again, it's But like I said, it seems to be, I may be wrong, that those days are slowly but surely being left behind. And I mean, here in Florida, we've been pretty much back to normal for a while, no?
Yeah, quite some time. And I would post on social media that I was out and about doing things, and some of my friends in other states would ridicule me or say that I'm gonna kill somebody's grandmother, or so I would like put up videos of like the highways being full of people, and I'm like, you know where all these people aren't going? The hospital. You know, they're going to work, and and that's not to discredit, like you're saying. Sadly, people did die. People
no,
did
no,
get
and
sick
absolutely.
and that's terrible. You never want that for anybody. But I think I've mentioned this several times on the podcast. We learned early on who this was really going to affect and who was kind of in the clear. And I feel it's in Florida, what we did was we protect our vulnerable populations, right? We protected the people who were elderly and who had these comorbidities. But if you were healthy, it was like, go to work. You got to be able to provide for your family.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like in the beginning of the quarantine, actually, we did stay home, just in case. We didn't know, not to be a dick, okay, let's follow the norm to protect our fellow humans. But after a while, like you said, we figured out who was really at risk and who wasn't.
Right.
And I'm really, really big about accountability, meaning, for example, Aldo, you play bars that are jam-packed, and I'm like, well, here's an idea. If you're immunocompromised, don't come out.
Right.
Well, how about them giving it to their mom? Well, let me put it to you this way. If my elderly mother, she's elderly, she's 70, hold on, she's going to kill me for saying this on the air. She's 75. She's going to be 75. And so on September 1st, she lived here in Florida. You bet your ass that I wouldn't have her at one of my shows.
Right.
And if I went to visit, I would make sure that, I don't know, I would let some time go by, make sure I'm in the clear.
Yep.
And it just, at the end, I think it comes down to common sense,
Yep. And you got to do that risk assessment, right? Interesting thing is in this world, we let people jump out of airplanes, ride motorcycles, do all sorts of risky things. But with COVID, it was like a COVID zero policy.
Yeah, there was weird. No margin, But like I said, a lot of people say that they experienced a very ugly side of humanity. I saw people coming together, and yes, I have friends that we had completely as opposite views. I have friends who literally from the very beginning, they were like, this, I'm going to go out and live my life. I'm not scared. They were having barbecues during the shutdown. They invited me. I declined, not out of fear, but Wendy is immunocompromised, so I wanted to see how that would play it out. And then she told me, like, I'm not going to live afraid. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But then we learned that, dude, we ended up catching it July of last year.
Yeah.
I got a headache for one day.
Yeah.
And I got really sleepy another day, and that's it.
I was pretty scared at the beginning. Because I'm a bit of a hypochondriac, and I was watching a lot of news. And then I finally caught COVID in September of 2020. My pharmacist put me on a vitamin regimen, and I was COVID negative in like 7 days. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me because I got it and I survived. And I realized, oh, wait a minute. This is a survivable thing,
Yeah. It's
Can you feel this fan on you?
This fan, a little. Oh, there you go. Now I do. That's awesome.
Is that better?
You know what? Actually, it did wonders for me because I found out that I had it on a Monday. I had gone on tour to North and South Carolina. I got back that Sunday night. That Wednesday, I had a headache. I don't get headaches, like ever. Like Wendy secretly hates me because of that. I don't get headaches. I don't get sick. And then that Saturday, I felt a little run down. Nothing crazy, but I was like, something doesn't seem right. So that following Monday when I got tested, but I've already exhibited symptoms for like the previous, I think, 5 days or so. And I took vitamins and I went out in the sun every single day.
Yeah.
I went out on walks in the sun by myself. I soaked in all that vitamin D. I didn't panic. I ate like a trucker, like I always do, in case you're...
You and me both, brother.
Yeah, dude, you know what? I love food. But, yeah, that was it. Wendy got it, of course, and, yeah, we survived it. And like I said, many folks they're not as lucky, but we're gonna get into that whole area where it's like who are truly is at risk, or not. And quite frankly, I'm not a doctor. I can only speak about what happened to me
Yeah.
and what works for me. And I know that at the end of the day, I need to work.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell me I can't provide for my family.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to happen.
That was the same thing with me. We were running our gym. The gym had to close. I started working in Delray, manufacturing these air and surface sanitizing pieces of equipment. We were shipping out like hundreds a day. And I was on 95, no other cars on the highway, which was a little weird. But yeah, I never stopped, It's like you got to keep working.
Yeah, and that was that. And then again, it's still, I was playing at Johnny Brown's in Delray about a month ago, and my buddy had this friend who was from Quebec, and he was down here visiting, and he's watching all the people dancing and standing up, and he's like, this is amazing. Like, where I come from, you still have to wear a mask. You have to remain seated. It's just ridiculous. I feel like I'm liberated, and I'm like, well, welcome to Florida, man.
That's right.
And it's probably because we do a lot more outdoor stuff here, or we all got the herd immunity. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not a doctor.
Neither one of us are doctors.
Yes, exactly.
We just know what our experience was.
Exactly.
I agree with you completely, man. Did you hear that Elon Musk bought Twitter?
Yes, I did. $44 billion. You know what I would do with
a B. $44 billion.
For those who are like listening up there, $1 billion, 1,000 millions, just so you know.
There's this, oh shit, my phone's downstairs. There's this really great explanation of seconds. Like if you take 1 million seconds, it's like 3.5 years. But if you take 1 billion seconds, it's like 1,000 years or something.
It's crazy. When you get to that level of so many zeros, it's crazy. Now for what I hear is that the left is losing their shit because Elon is not going to go along with their narrative.
Correct.
I didn't even know if Elon was either right or left, quite frankly. I never even got into that. Out of all the billionaire, super powerful people in the world, he's probably the only one I tolerate.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said, because there's some scary, wealthy people in this world, some of which whose names we'll never know.
Yeah, and actually there is it's not so much a hypothesis or not even a theory, but in order to be a billionaire, those people in the top 1%, the ones behind the scenes controlling everything, to be that rich and powerful, you have to be somewhat of a psychopath.
Oh, interesting.
Zero empathy for who you crush on the way up.
Right.
And I have not heard that from just one source. It comes from many, many different directions, many different people, and we all agree on that.
Yeah.
Elon is cool, man. And the dude has Asperger's, right?
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
I have this theory about autism and it being a spectrum, and I have a feeling that we're all on the spectrum, right? You group people into this they have autism or they're special or whatever, but I think we all have certain autistic tendencies, and it has to do with how comfortable you are socially, or so it's dude, we're all a little special. You know what I mean? And it takes somebody, I would imagine, whose brain works a little bit differently to be able to do all of the shit that he does. He has so many different businesses. All of them are fucking world-changing businesses.
I mean, quite frankly, I don't even know how the dude got started.
Right. Oh, it was PayPal.
PayPal?
PayPal.
He started with the concept, the idea of PayPal?
It was something else first. It was transactions online, and then it became PayPal, and then they sold PayPal. And I think that's where he made his original money, in PayPal.
Oh, okay. And then he went on to Tesla and then SpaceX. And
he
now
planned on losing
Twitter.
everything in Tesla. He said, I don't think Tesla's going to work. I'm just trying to prove that you can have a vehicle that's electric and can be mass produced. But he said he planned on it going to zero. But it didn't. And it's, there's Teslas here in South Florida. There's Teslas
Oh,
everywhere.
absolutely. I took a ride on a Tesla like about a month ago.
I have not been in one yet.
Oh, dude, we went to Orlando. We went to see Dream Theater with some friends. And my buddy has a Tesla, and he has the self-driving option. And the dude is driving, and he's looking at us in the back seat having a conversation while holding the steering wheel, but the car is doing all the driving. It's literally his face. He's watching us instead of the road. And it's
unnerving.
You go in there, and there's no dash. There's just a flat screen monitor, and that's all there is.
And it has like video games on it. Like there's on auto drive mode, and they're like playing chess.
Oh, the auto drive. The only catch is you have to be touching the steering wheel.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
There has to be some sort of measure of weight, so the car doesn't know that you're completely like conked out. You know?
Yeah.
But if he said, dude, he was and he said, I don't recommend it. Do it like, in the city during rush hour.
Yeah.
But he said I was driving back from Tampa in Alligator Alley, and I just leaned up against the door, and I just held on to the steering wheel, and I leaned my head to the side, and I just took a nice little 45-minute snooze.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep. Oh, at least that's what he said.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I believe it. Well, Alligator Alley, for those of you who don't know, is flat and straight for
Yes.
tens of
And
miles.
nothing. We're talking about nothing, not a soul except alligators.
Yeah, it's a little scary. I've
Yeah.
been on Alligator Alley, and I saw an alligator climbing the fence.
Ooh.
Like
Okay.
they have those fences on either side of the road, and we saw an alligator like halfway
Damn.
up the fence one time. Fucking nature will find a way, dude.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
There's this TV show called Upload. It's on Netflix, and it's about uploading your consciousness to like the afterlife.
Yeah. I heard about it. You know what? I don't really think that is that far ahead.
No, it's
from
not.
us. No.
It's not. And in that movie, the reason he ends up dying is because he's in a self-driving car and it malfunctions. And then come to find out, spoiler alert, it was somebody hacked his vehicle while it was in self-driving mode, and it didn't stop when it got to a big truck in front of him, which is also like fucking scary. You think about these fucking Teslas, you're like, take a snooze, somebody can fucking hack that thing.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about uploading to your consciousness, have you heard about Elon's and Elon Neuralink?
No, but you just said neural, neural meaning brain pathways, like I'm sure listen, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to prevent death and prolong life. So if I can get Blake and get your mind into something, a droid, whatever, that will allow you to continue living.
Yeah.
They want to, I think that's
That sounds like purgatory. Do you want to, it's like all these movies you see where these vampires are immortal, or these people have these curses while they live forever. It's like, there's something beautiful about the
mortality.
Yes.
Yeah, but I would not mind at all living 200 years.
100? Oh, please.
100, 200. Just see some
200
radical 200
years.
See some radical changes in the world.
Yeah, wow.
And then be like, okay, now I'm done.
Right. Yeah, 200 years would be. Could you imagine if you lived the last 200 years?
Oh God, that would have been like, well, let's look at it. Let's look it up that way. 200 years ago was 1822. 1822, the U.S. had been an independent republic since 1776, so I'm not really good at math.
40 years?
Almost 40 years.
Yeah.
No, a little over 40 years.
Yeah.
76, 86, 96, 2006, 2016. 46 years.
Yeah.
The U.S. have been an independent republic for only 46 years, and we have not even seen the WW1, that was the next century, WW2, Korean War, Vietnam, Gulf War. I mean, shit.
Electricity.
Yeah.
When did we have lights? When did
beginning of the crap. I want to say probably around the end of the 19th century, meaning the 1800s.
Right.
It took me the hard way to learn that the 1800s, that's the 19th century.
I still don't know
No,
that.
no, you always have to add one more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
But-
actually on this podcast saying, like many episodes ago, like, are we in the 20th century or the 21st century? It's like
21st century.
Yeah, okay.
It's technically, yeah. But imagine the Wright brothers. I mean, the first flight ever was around 1914.
Yeah.
You know?
So this is an interesting fact. The Wright brothers flew in 1914.
Something like that. Don't
Then
quote me
when
on
was
it.
World War One?
The what?
World War One.
Oh, that was at 1921, roughly. So,
Okay.
like 5 years later, you have planes all over the place.
Dropping bombs.
Exactly. That's
So
crazy.
That's mankind for you. It's like, oh, we just made something that can fly. Let's throw bombs out of it.
You know that's the thing. I believe, and this is when I get a little out there. Humans are capable of such wonders, but a lot of the times we just go and fuck it up.
Yeah.
You know, like think about it. We've created technology. We've created art. When you go out there, go down, do something simple. Like walk around the block and look at City Place, those buildings, you know, and Palm Beach Island. And that just a speck of like the real wonders that are like, dude, the pyramids,
Right.
Leaning Tower of Pizza.
I don't
you know?
think we built the pyramids. I think aliens helped us.
Okay, I first of all believe in aliens.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no fucking rational, logical way that you're going to convince me that in this incredibly vast universe, we are the only intelligent life. There's no
Right.
fucking way. Yes, you know particularly why? If you look at the hieroglyphics in Egypt, you probably, when you were in school, you know, they show you that the symmetry of the human form is very sideways.
Right.
You know?
Okay. Yeah.
But the Sphinx of Gizeh is perfectly symmetrical, minus the fact that it's missing the nose. That's one of the
Interesting.
things. The God, what are the figures that you can see from almost from space? They're like birds. They're like Nazca, I think they are. God, I can't remember. You know, Easter Island.
Yes.
The
yes,
statues?
Yes.
Fun fact for you. You know what those are called?
No.
Moais.
Say it again.
Moai.
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 Okay.
Moai.
Moai.
The you know the ones they're like big faces. You know
Yeah,
the ones?
yeah.
I know that because Easter Island is politically a Chilean territory.
Interesting.
Yes, yeah. Easter Island is ours, bitch.
Well, what do you think that men sculpted those?
You know what? There are many things that have like absolutely no explanation. I mean, just the symmetry of the work, the magnitude, the size, sheer size alone. How do you build that?
I learned something interesting yesterday. Cobb, shout out Cobb, was on the podcast, and he told me a cool little tidbit. The Great Pyramid of Giza,
Yeah, Giza.
the longitude and latitude, like the coordinates of where it is, to the number is the same as the speed of light.
Wow.
It's like a 12-digit number of like the longitude and latitude.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same digits as the speed of light.
Damn.
How does that even make sense? Like, it's not like people knew longitude and latitude.
No.
then.
Well, think about how astronomy came to be. That was the Greeks, but how much did they have to work with?
And you're talking about a coincidence? A coincidence that to the number, the speed of light is the same as the coordinates of the tower, the Great Pyramid of Giza.
yeah.
It's fucking wild, dude. It's wild. I have a theory that, and the people who listen to this podcast are probably over it, but I'll say it again.
No, go ahead. I'm
I
all
have
ears.
a theory that aliens don't visit this planet. This was their planet first. I think that they potentially manipulated apes to create a they talk about the missing link and whatnot. How did we go from ape to human? I think that potentially we could be an alien experiment. When we started seeing all these UFO sightings is when we started detonating the nuclear bombs. They started showing up everywhere. Not only that, there's tons of military documentation of UFOs hovering over nuclear sites and shutting off the nukes. All the nukes would shut off, and then all of a sudden, back on.
I didn't know that.
Yes. There's a great documentary called The Phenomenon, not the movie about the guy who gets struck by lightning.
That's John Travolta and Keira
Fantastic film.
Sedgwick.
Fantastic film.
Yeah.
But this is called The Phenomenon, and it talks about all of this military documentation of alien encounters or UFO encounters. And some people feel like it's an intervention, that they are preventing us from, one, blowing their human experiment off of the face of existence, but also destroying their Earth. Commander David Fravor is a Air Force pilot who chased this thing he called the Tic Tac. Have you heard this story?
No, not at all.
Okay, the U.S. Nimitz off the coast of San Diego in 2003. They're running a training exercise, 2 fighter jets, and they say, listen, we got something on the radar. These things have been popping up. Go check it out. He comes up on it, and it's a large Tic Tac, the size of his plane or larger, hovering a foot above the water with what looked like a large craft underneath the water with water breaking on top of it, almost like it was communicating with something under the water. It then realized he was there, turned and faced him, and then did this like dance with him. And then all of a sudden, boom, it was gone. And it reappeared at 80,000 feet above sea level on radar. And then, boom, back down to 1 foot above sea level.
Which is not human technology by no means.
It is not known human technology, right? There's a potential that these black budget things that we do with Lockheed Martin and stuff, that they have maybe reverse engineered something. There's talks of using anti-gravity things to, but it doesn't seem like it's of this earth. Anyway, that's like military documented of this craft, and what I was getting at is they're communicating with something under the ocean. I have a feeling that potentially these otherworldly beings live on this planet, and they inhabit mostly under the oceans.
Yeah.
And
I think they're still here.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there's theories. There's a guy who is the ex Minister of Defense from Canada, this older guy, and he did this what do you call that when he talks to a panel of people, a press conference type thing, where he talks about 23 different species of known extraterrestrials, and 2 of which are currently working with the United States government.
Wow.
This is the ex-Minister of Defense of Canada who has like all the credentials of
all the clearances.
and not being a crackpot weirdo, who like got abducted on his farm. Like, this guy is like legit. And you hear stuff like that, and you get like the cognitive dissonance. Like, wait, what am I listening to here? Like, did he just say that there's 22 known species of extraterrestrials?
Yeah, like, by the way, I didn't know that till about what time is it?
Yeah.
Like that.
I was today years old.
I was today years old. Yeah, but like I don't believe it's just not.
Babe, you can
feasible
come on
to me.
camera. My wife is
Ooh,
ducking underneath
Danielle,
here.
can I trouble you for some shells, please?
Yes. Let's do Watongas. 2 Watongas,
Watongas,
please.
yes, please.
Thank you, babe. I
Thank
know
you.
you're crazy busy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, no, I'm there with you. Just logically speaking, it's just I cannot conceive that we're the only intelligent life
Right.
form,
Yeah.
And there are like so many different holes in the whole how we came to be. You say we're an experiment of aliens. Like you could say Christian, I mean, I have like, you can probably see it, but I have the Archangel Michael there and
That's
Jesus
beautiful
there.
work you have, by the way.
Thank you.
Too.
Emily Tides, that No Hearts Feelings tattoo in Coral Springs. I love Emily.
Dope.
But I'm not entirely a creationist because there are too many holes. I believe in God, yeah. And then again, that's my prerogative. You know, you can worship a turtle if you see fit.
Right.
If it makes you happy, that's good. But then again, yeah. So we all have like these theories of how we came to be, which is literally a 5-hour conversation, if not longer, on its own.
Yeah, absolutely. When you start talking about Christianity and religion, and then you start talking about aliens, it's like it's could be considered blasphemous. But I think, like you said, we don't have enough answers, and there's a lot of weird shit. We start talking about the pyramids.
Oh, yeah.
How are these same monolithic structures built all over the earth with similar technologies in a time where they didn't have the technology to be able to build something like that? It leaves a lot of questions, which I really like pondering
oh my
about.
God. You're amazing.
Thank you so much, babe.
Thank you, Danielle.
Oh, that's ice cold.
Hola.
Hola,
Love
brother.
it. But you know what? The pyramids, apparently they were built by hand.
By the Jews, Jewish slaves. Or is that a lie?
No. We are talking about back in Egypt.
Right.
The Egyptian Empire.
Well, remember Moses saying, let my people go?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was because the Egyptians enslaved the Jews to build the pyramids. But I also am a fucking idiot and might be wrong.
Dude, that's right. I didn't even know that Judaism was going that far back. Because I do know that at some point you get to year 0, which is allegedly the year that Christ, the historical Jesus, was born.
Right.
But before that, we have literally
Thousands and thousands of years.
of Greek and Egyptian empire and be the Etruscans, and all those people that came before. So, like my history is a little fuzzy because it's been probably 25 years since I graduated high school.
Yeah.
So you got to bear with me on that one. But that's not like a whole other topic. Yeah. So I'm there with you with the aliens. We haven't even touched on politics. I say they're all corrupt.
So I have recently had on 2 gentlemen running for U.S. Senate, 1 guy running for Congress. I have a young lady coming on Monday or Tuesday who's running for Senate. I just spoke with another gentleman who's coming in a couple weeks running for Senate. I have been very ignorant to politics, right? Until all of this started happening. I realized, man, it's really important who makes the decisions in our country.
Oh, absolutely. But the question is, the people making the decisions, do they have yours and mine best interest at heart?
The people who are there now do not. I think there are a small handful.
Yeah.
And we've seen them go on these Senate congressional hearings or whatever and really put people's feet to the fire about giving us some answers. Like Rand Paul, he's asking Fauci, where did this come from? Did this virus come from China? Like, there's some who really want to get us answers. Is it for our benefit? I don't know.
Yeah.
What I'm hoping is that I can educate myself on people who are running for office that potentially could go in and make some change.
I mean, that would be absolutely amazing. See, I can honestly tell you, and it's not that I'm refusing to tell you my political affiliation. I don't care enough to strongly stand up for it because at the end, I think it's all mush. You know what I mean? But I will say that nothing out there really defines what I stand for. You know what? I would like, dude? I would like for college not to cost an arm and a leg. I would like for affordable health care. I would like for somebody who works a simple menial job to be able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment in South Florida. Bro, you know what the cost of living is here.
I know. There's an apartment down the street, 1 bedroom, 600 square feet, $2,500 a month.
Yeah, that's insane. And don't get me wrong, like me and Wendy, we both work, and we do well, but it's what we pay for, like, the cost of living, car payment, car insurance, utilities, cell phone, food. I mean, it's ridiculous. So
if you really look at the numbers, it's almost surprising that you are still surviving. Like, it's almost like, how the fuck do I pull this off? Because on paper, you shouldn't be.
I
right?
still ask myself that question. How the hell am I doing it?
Right.
And thank God, we never lack. We're always good. But you asked me what would be my political affiliation. Something that can make life affordable and fair. And you know what, dude? I'm like, if you're gay, get married, dude. If that's good for you, women's right, absolutely, all about it. But with all the extreme stuff that is going on right now, and that I'm like,
it's a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird
that listen. Here's the disclaimer. You never want to offend anybody. And
yes,
you want people
course.
to be who they want to be.
Yes.
But when you start talking about our children.
Yes, okay, that's where I am like, listen, if you have Billy, and if when Billy is 16, 17 years old, he truly starts to feel like, he's like, I really wish I was a girl, then, okay, we can start talking about it.
Right.
But when Billy's 5, Billy has no fucking clue what he wants.
No.
No. That's just my take.
And I think we have a responsibility to guide our children, instead of indoctrinate our children. And the problem is when you send your child to a public school, this is a state-run facility, right? Public schools, state-run facility with state-run curriculum. these are really just like indoctrination camps, and they have been for a long time. The history lessons that were taught are all skewed, but now there's this woke ideology that's being injected into the
Yeah.
education system.
I didn't want to say the word. Pardon me for interrupting you, because then again, you don't want to offend anyone. But in the other hand, it's pretty out there. It's
You didn't want to say the word woke?
yeah. Because
Isn't it weird how the word woke has changed meanings?
God.
It used to be if you were woke, you understood that there was
past participle of wake.
of awake,
Yes.
right? But it used to mean that you were like aware that there were other things at play,
Yeah.
and everything isn't what it seems. Woke is this whole new thing of being like incredibly progressive left, where you
Yeah.
think you should defund the police.
No, not at all. By the way, that is the most moronic thing I've ever heard.
Agreed.
And I'm like, and if you want guns, prior, proper and thorough background check, you
Yes.
should be able to have your guns.
That's right.
Same-sex marriage, if you all want to be happy, go right ahead. You got my blessing. Women's, absolutely. I support women in every single level and field.
Yeah.
You got a dick between your legs and you're thinking use a little girl's bathroom where my little girl's going to go pee-pee, man, and we got another thing going on.
Right. Well, see, this is a very weird area here.
Yes, I know.
One of my closest friends, Ellie, is trans and is transitioning.
I know.
And you know
Trans
Ellie.
people. Ellie, wait a
Ellie,
minute.
who works here.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right? So
yeah.
I've had a conversation with Ellie about the knowing at what point did she know that she was in the wrong body. And, she said she was about 8 years old, and she knew I don't feel like the rest of the boys, right? Which I understand. And I think that there is a portion of our population that for whatever reason in the for crude terms, cooking of the baby in the oven, that maybe some wires got crossed. And that potentially the body parts did not match the makeup of what the person feels like as their gender. I think that happens.
Oh, no. I believe that it is beyond possible that there's someone who truly, like Ellie,
Yes.
that they truly believe they were born in the wrong body.
Correct. But I don't think it's as prevalent. I don't think it's as many people as what's being said. And one of the fears is that young kids are very malleable and they go
and
along
they're
with
jumping
their
on
friends.
the bandwagon
Yes.
of whatever's going on. Yeah,
Yes.
like someone like Ellie, she has a justifiable reason.
Correct.
And I'm sure that she is taking whatever steps are necessary to fully transition.
Absolutely.
And
she's talked to me about the years of therapy, and I don't mean to put her business out there, but she
No,
was
no.
on the podcast, and we talked about it on the podcast. You can go back and listen to it. And Ellie believes in taking all the steps and going through all of the therapy and the communication to make sure that this is a correct decision for you, because it is obviously a very life-changing decision.
Yeah.
But there are stories after stories of young women who want to transition to be boys because their friends are, and then regretting it, and that is a fear, and it's like we got to find a happy medium. You got to let people be who they want to be. Have you heard this theory about that before the fall of great empires, gender lines start to get blurred?
No, but it sounds like you're almost quoting exactly what's happening right now.
Right. So before the fall of the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire, they get very weird about gender, and they also get a little bit weird about pedophilia and all of this stuff. And it's almost like,
Which, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have ADHD. No.
Please.
Do you hear the one thing in California that we're trying to argue that pedophilia was a sexual orientation?
Yes. I don't understand what's happening.
That's fucked. Listen, in one hand, when I was 16, 17, I knew very damn well what I was doing.
Right.
And I grew up in South America, completely out. But a little kid is a little kid, man. That's just foul, man.
Yeah.
You don't go there.
Yeah. Yeah, and to say that this is a sexual orientation and that we should have empathy for these people. Okay, maybe we should empathize at the fact that they need psychological help, right?
But not to condone the actual relationship. Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, cheers on that bull on that,
I don't understand. Oh, I guzzled mine.
No,
Bula, brother. Yeah, I don't understand what's happening, and it feels like the end. It feels like the beginning of the end. There's also a statistic about that every great republic or what a democratic republic has fallen at 250 years.
So basically, you know, our lifespan. Let's see. We became an independent republic in 1776. So in 1976, 86, 96, 16. Oh, we have 4 more years before we croak.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of that being said, I think it just exemplifies the importance of enjoying every moment that we're in.
Yeah.
And loving each other and sharing our passions and finding our passions. Because if we get caught up in this fucking crazy crumbling of the society we're in, it's just gonna, speed it up. It's like, we have to come together and love each other and lift each other up and wake the fuck up. Everything that comes through the TV is designed to control the way you think.
By the way, so you know, little tip about myself, I don't watch the news.
Smart.
CNN, Fox, I don't give a fuck.
Smart.
Don't watch them, Yes, I read, what I don't even get that involved, not because I don't care. It's just that everything is so filtered according to whatever narrative fits them best. What is the thing? CNN is left, Fox is right, you know, and they all just kind of like pepper, they pepper their gumbo accordingly to whatever they want you to hear. So, but listen, I'm a very simple guy. I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm a full-time musician in South Florida, you dude. I mean, there's nothing fancy about me. Yeah, I've been lucky enough that I make a living of this. I tour. I'm actually going on tour on Friday.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I'm going to Ohio. Never been to Ohio. Is there anything fun to do in Cleveland?
I think there's like shootings and stuff. Just kidding. No, but there's
I got your bullet.
No, some of my favorite artists are from Cleveland, though, like Machine Gun Kelly and Bone Thugs and Harmony, and a lot of music history from Cleveland.
Okay, yeah, I know the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, yeah,
we're
absolutely.
flying in. Management is flying us in on Friday very early. I gotta be at the airport at 5:30 a.m., but that's fine because.
Are you going to a PBI or Fort Lauderdale?
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And I wish it was PBI because PBI is 20 minutes away from home. Fort Lauderdale is 45.
Yeah.
But I know we get to hang out in Cleveland for a day, and then we play a show on Saturday night in a town called Rootsville, Ohio.
Okay.
No clue where it is.
No. And you were hired for that gig from somebody in the area there?
No, it's the artist that I play with, Ryan Montgomery. I've been with him for almost 40 years. He does these tour dates out of state, cool. And they bring the whole band and crew out, and they either put you in a bus or they fly you up there like they're doing this time.
Yeah.
And we do this show. It's a good time.
And you play lead guitar?
Lead guitar, yes.
And for all originals?
Yeah, all of his originals. I don't write any of it. Like, basically, he just gives me the music, and he's like, can you please learn this note for note? And I listen to it. I learn it note for note. We rehearse it, and then we play it out live. And that's it.
And is that one of the ways that you make money with your guitar?
Yes. The other one would be playing locally. Here, bars, restaurants, hotels, corporate events, weddings, bar mitzvah. No, I actually, scratch that. I've never done a bar mitzvah, not that I know of. Yeah. But
South Florida, never done a bar mitzvah.
Nope, never done it. I've done a ton of weddings, but you know what the thing is? I'm going to give you a little secret. The best money as a performing musician is in private events.
Oh, absolutely.
Corporate and private.
Oh, yeah. They've got the budget.
Yeah, but I play in a rock band by choice.
Yeah.
I take a little bit less money, but at least I get to rock the fuck out, playing shit that I like.
Yeah. You play a lot of covers when you do your gigs?
Of course. All of them are covers. People have been like, oh, you sell out. And last time I checked, that SUV parked in my driveway, the covers paid for it.
Yeah,
so,
that's
right. But you know what? At the end of the day, I get to play music with my friends for a living. Yeah. That's my fucking job.
Yeah, absolutely.
I play music with my boys and girls.
I think people who call other people who play covers, sellouts, are so ignorant to the fact that music is always a recreation. I mean, there's very, very little new notes that are made. People aren't making new musical notes. It's always combinations, and you're using influences of yours. And some of the biggest songs that ever came out, somebody was doing their rendition of somebody else's song.
Yeah, I mean, it's hardly anything that is 100% truly original anymore.
Do you write originals also?
I have. Actually, it's been a minute. The last original song that I wrote, beginning to end, was in February of 2018. I wrote a song for Wendy for her 1 year sober anniversary.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So I wrote her a song. I went to my buddy's studio. I recorded it for her. I put her in a CD. She still has a CD.
Nice.
In her bedroom. There's like this thing of strings with like, what do you call the bobby pins or safety pin? What do you call clothespins? What do you call clothespins? With every card I've ever given her.
Really?
She keeps everything.
That's amazing.
But anyway, and the CD is hanging on that very same wall.
Yeah.
The CD that I made for her. So yes, I do write my originals. I have a very vast background in music. I went to Ortega Jazz when I was in Chile. I went to UWF. I'm one of those I know theory, I know harmony, composition, arrangement, counterpoint, you name it. I don't really use a lot of counterpoint. Not in
what is
popular
counterpoint?
Music. Two melodies going simultaneously, but they're not rhythmically congruent.
Is it like row, row, row your boat?
No.
and
Imagine
then you would come in row, row, row. Have you done that exercise?
Oh yeah.
before?
Okay. Could be something like that. Like say that the top line goes do 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 do, and the bottom one boom ba da. But it's two lines. They're not congruent, but yet cohesive.
Oh, okay.
And they don't. The contour is not the same. When one note goes, it's something Bach excelled at. But anyway, so the whole point is I'm one of those nerds. I know my theory.
Right.
You can burp and I'll tell you what note you're burping, or at least close to. And I did the original stuff. Actually, funny you mentioned that because we put out an album back in 2007. I had a band named Grindstone, and we were together for 2002 till 2017, however long that was.
15 years.
15 years. Thank you. I told you I suck at math.
Me too. I was surprised when I got that one.
And we, impressive. And we put out a full-length album. And me and my buddy Tim, who's been my best friend of like 23 years coming up now, we wrote, arranged, produced, and tracked the whole thing. I mean, of course, the drummer and bass player that were there to do their parts, but we crafted the whole thing, and we got all the copyrights. Back then, you had to mail.
Yeah, it's called a poor man's
form.
copyright.
No.
No. Sorry.
No. You were correct about that. But actually, if you want to go get all fancy-pantsy, you have to get the PA form from the Library of Congress, Performance Arts. And you fill up the form, and you send an actual CD to the Library of Congress, plus a check or money order for $35. This was, mind you, back in 2007.
Yeah.
Or 2006. And that's how you got the copyright for everything. So we got the copyrights done for the entire album that way. It's not the poor man's copyright, although you're correct about that.
When you mail it to yourself and don't open it. And then the postmark on it.
Now, you know how else you can do it? Now, the new poor man's copyright is you put it on SoundCloud. And there's a timestamp on it. No, but this one, we did it the right way. I mailed the forms. I mailed the checks. Freaking money orders, man. I did the copyrights for that song I told you about that I made for Wendy. I did the copyrights during the pandemic. I did everything online.
Yeah.
Just like, there you go. Enter your credit card number. Took like 8 months to get the fucking thing in the mail, man. But I finally got it.
Bureaucrats move slow.
Yeah. Tell me about it, man. But anyway, so I have my own original stuff. I put it out. We tried it, dude. I mean, back in the day, we literally dove right in with that album, and we gave it our all, and locally did very well.
Right.
It just never went past the Tri-County area.
It's hard to do, man. It's hard to do, and it's a saturated industry. That was my challenge being a rapper, is that I could never gig. right? Because I was like a lyricist, and it's like, unless I was like in rap music, you don't really go out and cover other rappers, you know. Whereas if I was a musician, like if I played an instrument, I could gig. So it was always a challenge for me using my craft to feed myself while I was trying to become a, an
So how do you
international
get your
superstar.
music out there? Of course, you recorded it and you
You would
it
put
out
it
there.
on things like Bandcamp or what's Hip Nation. I can't remember what it's called. But you would just put it on different things online, and then you would go to CD Baby, and you would have CD Baby print you up a bunch of CDs.
Yeah.
Remember
That's for
CD
the
Baby?
CD Baby, now
you
they
would
have
go-
DistroKid.
DistroKid, yeah, absolutely. And you would hand out CDs at the gas station. Eventually, I got a CD replicator, a machine that would do 100 CDs at a time. Print those up, stuff them, go hand them out.
Dude, do you still have some of those CDs?
I think my dad has some. I think some of my friends have them.
'Cause I am fresh out of mine. We started printing an original 1,000. I am out. I
Yeah.
don't even have. I have our album in my Dropbox.
Yeah.
I have it in my Dropbox file. I don't have an actual physical CD.
Isn't that funny? You're like, God, I wish I just had one.
Yeah, it's funny, and I'm sure that I can track down. I know the guy who mixed it. I'm sure he must have a copy somewhere,
Right.
or at least the master, so we can burn it.
You
again.
hope they save them.
Yeah, I mean, I will hope so. It's funny. This guy named Steve Gordon, he's worked with Lenny Kravitz, Beyonce, lives out in Weston. So we went to his studio and we would sit there while he would mix the whole thing. And he was pretty cool, nice guy too.
Yeah.
Good player.
I love the process of creating an album or creating music and being in the studio. I had an opportunity to work with a record producer. I didn't really work with him. I was a project manager for an up-and-coming band out of Atlanta called Namesake. Shout out Namesake. They got signed to an independent deal, and they did an album with James Paul Wisner. James Paul Wisner did Under Oath, Newfound Glory,
Okay.
Dashboard
All right.
Confessional, Paramore. So we went to his home in Central Florida, and they recorded their entire album at his home, and it was just like an amazing experience. Like, one thing I didn't realize, that they layer guitar tracks. Like, if you're playing lead, they would, just the same way when I track vocals, sometimes I'll track a main vocal and then some doubles of the
Yeah.
vocal and then mix those together. They were doing the same thing with guitars. They would like double or triple the guitar.
Yeah, guitars normally, the way they do it in the studio, at least in my experience, you have a rhythm part. You do the part, it's just power chords, very simple, and then you pan that slightly to the left.
Right.
And then you do the exact same part and pan it slightly to the right. So
Yep.
now you get like that double fullness.
Yeah.
And I'm all about doubling rhythm parts. I just cannot, and I've never have nor ever will, double a lead.
Yeah, that makes sense. And maybe that's what I was watching happen.
You know who used to double all of his leads? Randy Rhoads.
Like from Rhodes Keyboards?
No, Randy Rhoads, the guy who played with Ozzy Osbourne in the late
okay.
80s,
Yeah.
in the early 80s. Brilliant player. He died at 25 years old in a plane crash.
Oh,
The one of the guys in the crew, he decided to take a little two-seater plane out for a spin. He was high on coke and miscalculated and ended up crashing into a barn. So anyways, but so yeah,
he would double his lead guitars.
he would double his lead guitars, but and I've never been a fan, but he was such a brilliant player, so what are you going to say to Randy Rhoads,
Right.
But yeah, but the whole point you were asking me is, yes, I do have original music. Do I have any intentions of making any more? Maybe at
Yeah.
some point. I am so busy, thank God, with the cool thing is I literally, dude, I pick my gigs, the people I play with. If I don't want to work, I don't.
Right.
But of course, that's not wise because I need that thing called money.
Yeah.
But I literally I make my own hours basically. People reach out to me and they offer me this and that. My bandmates book this. The guy I tour with, they book the dates and they let me know, and then I work around it, and it's beautiful that I haven't had to wear a uniform in almost 20 years.
Yeah, it's a blessing. Well, you've worked your ass off.
Yeah,
I've heard that you're very talented, but I have not had a chance to hear you play.
Oh shit.
I
Well,
thought that maybe we could fix that this
oh
evening.
well, just so happens, so you guys know, Blake made me.
So Aldo has brought his axe, and we've plugged into my very rudimentary mixer here.
Yeah, but it's
Hold on, Aldo. Before you start, I'm just gonna switch over the noise reduction.
yeah,
one
yeah, of
second.
course. Yeah, just to show you a little. Yeah, no, so it's like you got like a lot of. Oh, that sounds like a so. Wow, that's kind of so. Basically, I'm a rock player, so. That sounds really fuzzy, but you can do. Wow, that sounds almost like a fuzz by Jimi Hendrix. You know what a fuzz is? It's the fuzz pedal. It literally sounds like. So anyway, yeah,
that's
really
incredible, man.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
man.
we'll have to do a disclaimer here that I have him going into our very inexpensive mixing board here, and
it's
it
totally
probably
cool.
doesn't sound that great.
You
But
know what? Maybe the clean sounds a little bit. Wow, even the clean sounds like. You know what? But it's cool. One day I have to do something for you to where I set it up through.
what if I turn down the low?
Oh, I just noticed what's happening. You see that red light? Every time I hit it, I'm clipping your signal. No, that is not you. That's me. My output is too hot
Yeah.
for your. But anyway, so
Do you have a go-to? Can you play a little song?
Oh, I mean, well, there's always like Jimi Hendrix.
Yes.
That anyone can. Jimi Hendrix is always like a good solid one. Stevie Ray,
Yeah, dude.
So anyway, you know what I like about the guitar? It's just covering my midsection. I eat like a large pizza at night. As part of my diet.
You should have kept that guitar there the whole time.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, man. Let me out.
Dude, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your abilities with us.
Oh, thank you, bro.
man.
My pleasure. Although, to be honest, man, you know what? I'm going to give you another trick into performance. The way you hear yourself affects how you play tremendously. In other words, if you're not happy with the sound, that you have coming out of the monitors or your in-ears or even your own amp, your playing level is going to decrease exponentially.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
if you can hear yourself and you're happy with your sound, like totally, like right now, I'm not making excuses. I was like, damn, I did the best I could with
No,
what had. And it's not.
It was fantastic.
No, thank you
and
very
I
much.
totally
I
understand
appreciate
that,
it.
man. Although it's not nearly on the level that you've been on, but as a rapper, when I would perform at some venues, the guy who was running the mixing board, had it was one guy specifically at several different ink fests we would do. He had a chip on his shoulder for rappers because he thought that they just wanted it as loud as possible. And what would happen is he would never have me loud enough in the monitors. So
you use wedges, right?
yeah, so there'd
Okay,
be wedges,
wedges.
and I couldn't hear myself over the music. So we're sound checking, and I'm like, dude, I just need it to be up in the monitors a little bit, and he just slams them all the way up. He's like, is that how you want it? It's like, no, that's not how I wanted it. I just wanted to be able to hear myself. I was also a little weird too. I'm like, can you like wet it up a little bit? Can I get a
A
little
little
bit of
reverb,
a little reverb?
delay, yeah.
And it was almost like he didn't expect that I knew what I was saying. Like, I'm not asking for anything crazy, just a little bit of reverb, a small amount of delay, and a little bit of volume in the monitors. It was always a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, it's like imagine you're about to perform and your vocals, are clipping in the board so they sound distorted.
Yep.
It's going to affect how you delivering that performance every time out of the gate,
1,000%. There's also an issue with I would use a wireless microphone, and sometimes I would hop off the stage and not realize that I would then get a delay from, depending on how far I was away from the speaker, from being able to hear my vocal while I was saying it. Anyway, I digress. But I totally understand the way you sound to yourself while you're performing. Greatly affects your ability.
Absolutely. No, and I gotta tell you, that little thing right there, that's been a lifesaver. And live, especially, when you have a good sound guy and I can hear myself loud and clear, then that thing it literally builds all your confidence. And they say, you should be able to play through a can of soup. But I'm like, that's to a degree. The greats, those guys have like literally custom made rigs just for them. So I'm like, of course they sound amazing.
Technology has come such a far way. What you guys can't see off camera here, Aldo has this pedal board that's like fully digital. And it used to be, and I'm sure this is still a thing, where you would have like 20 different pedals.
Yes, I still have that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
This is just good for portability.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, up until fairly recently, I still would bring an amp and a giant pedal board with all the different pedals. I prefer analog.
Yeah.
But this is so convenient that I literally strap it on my back and I just bring a guitar and a monitor and I am done. And I'm like, probably, I'm 43 years old. I don't want to be logging off an 80-pound cabinet, dude.
Right.
Like the check engine light came on, a while ago, so everything cracks and hurts, So I don't want to.
Well,
I don't want to be hauling.
The digital revolution will be led by convenience, right? But it doesn't mean it's the best direction.
Yeah,
I mean,
but you can get but then again, I wouldn't do it if the product was not quality. Like if I got, like a shitty sound out of this, I would not be using it.
Would you consider that a board if I were to use a technical term?
This is technically a profiler.
Okay.
What it does, it mimics the sounds of dozens of amps and stores them in, so it's called a Kemper Profiler Stage. And I got it because there's certain venues in South Florida where the load-in and the stage are so small that I literally, whoever designed it, they were not thinking about the band.
Right.
And I was bringing a big-ass amp, dude, with a head and the speakers and the pedals individual.
Yeah.
And I was like, there has to be an easier way. Yeah. So I looked it up, and when I saw that everyone and their mother are using Kemper, I went and dove in, bought it. Around the same time, the guy that I tour with, he decided he wants to go direct, meaning no amps. So when I tour with him, there's not a single speaker on stage. Everything is in your in-ears.
Yeah, that's fucking cool though, man.
Yeah.
And you're wireless.
Wireless and everything. And although I still love and prefer the sound of a wedge because I like the live sound on stage.
Yeah.
But that's a completely different. Oh shit! I totally hit that.
You're good.
Yeah, but like I say, you adapt with the times. We're talking about NFTs earlier.
Right.
We're talking about how you move on with this, and it's like I said, there's no retirement for what I do. So either
you'll be rocking until the day you drop. Rock till they drop.
Like honestly, I mean in all seriousness, I'm gonna play guitar till my hands can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the way I'm going to go.
Well, I think the world's a better place because of that, my friend.
Well, dude, you're too kind, my man.
Well,
the world's a better place because of nice guys like you, man.
Thanks, Aldo. Well,
Dude.
I appreciate you sitting down with me
Dude,
tonight,
my pleasure, man.
This
Are
has
you
been
kidding me?
fantastic.
Dude, it's
Listen,
an honor, man.
Yeah, man. Likewise. We got to dive into all sorts of fun shit.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And something tells me we didn't even we
Scratch
barely
the
got warmed
surface.
up.
So
yeah.
then we'll have you come back in a couple months, and we'll continue this conversation.
Well, absolutely, man.
Cool. Listen, if people want to book you for a show, follow your social media, keep up with you, what's the best way to do that online?
Actually, just okay. This is gonna sound kind of funny.
They want you to send them a letter in the mail?
No. I barely touch my Instagram. I mean,
Okay.
I have it, and
Yeah.
that's how I follow you and see what you're doing.
Right.
My Facebook is private.
Okay.
You're like, why?
No, it's
I
smart.
don't even have an EPK. You know why, my brother? I don't need it.
Yeah.
I have every venue, every agency in town knows who I am, and every musician, knows about me. So, but you can actually go ahead and look me up at Chilaen_musician and on Instagram.
Okay.
And if I meet you in person, and then I ask you to follow me on Facebook, then we can do that as well.
That's perfect.
But Instagram is probably the best way to follow me. Oh, you can, however, look at Project X Band in Florida.
Okay.
And also Ryan Montgomery Music,
Yeah.
who's the guy I tour with.
Yeah, I just saw Project X on stage somewhere recently.
We played at Throw Social on Saturday.
So somebody I know was in the crowd at that show.
Get outta here.
And put up on their social media, on their story, that they were there. I think it was actually Crystal and Spencer downstairs. Crystal was at I think she was at a bachelorette party and watched you guys play. Didn't even
Yep.
realize it.
That
So
is
Project
very
X Band is
possible.
the name of the band.
Yeah, Project X. Yeah, that is correct, my man.
Very fucking cool.
Awesome, man.
I appreciate you very much,
Well,
Aldo.
again, my honor, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Cool.
having me.
Yeah,
dude.
my pleasure. You guys, thanks for being a fly on the wall during this conversation. Go
Yes.
follow Aldo. Find out when he's playing in your area. Go see him. If you like what you heard here today, like, comment, subscribe, click all the buttons, do all the things. But most importantly, we'll see you next time live from Hakuna. Thanks, y'all.
Let's go, Bula.
Boola.
Bula. Nice, man.